What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is HUD Wednesday nights. Talking Phillies with you, JT's injury, and we'll go over Game 3 of the NBA Finals live reactions. Let's go.
I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
Welcome in, everybody. This is HUD Wednesday nights, only on HUD Radio. Every Wednesday, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Go check them out and make sure you use promo code A2D to get 10% off your in-store order. Missing some doggies tonight? No Greg Milakovic, no Mike Mataraki, no Noah Eaton, it looks like. But as always, we got Heel Chrome, Luke Brown. I'm Tom Arnone. And as I mentioned, when we come in, we'll go over Mavs Celtics Game 3 live reactions, give you a little post-gamer on that one. Phillies versus Red Sox post-game, but the game's still going on, 8-6. Phillies just scored. We got an 8-6 ball game. But our main topic at hand is JT Realmuto is out with a meniscus injury. Ties into our poll question that you can vote on everywhere. Make sure you do. Realmuto's absence will push Dave Dombrowski to make a bold trade move. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Hopefully Facebook again. So YouTube, Twitter. That one stung. Wish I didn't have to say that. But YouTube, Twitter, you can vote on it. Agree or disagree. Realmuto's absence will push Dave Dombrowski to make a bold trade move. I'm going to disagree. Looks like he's out for about like 30 days. I'm sure they're just trying to get that, that sprain, because I believe it's just a sprain. I'm not sure what grade it is, but again, not ideal when you're talking about your all-star catcher and arguably the best catcher in baseball. Do I think that makes him make a bold trade? I'll disagree, because I think if he's going to make one, he was going to make one regardless. Now, if the poll was more directed of like, does he go and try to find another catcher? That's a different story. I don't think catchers grow on trees. I think we all know that. There isn't a bunch out there. You got to go to work with the two guys you have right now and hope they're good enough, but this team's super talented. So I don't think it's going to push Dave Dombrowski all in. I think that Dave Dombrowski's all in anyway. And if he's going to make a move, he's going to make it. And he's not making it based off of JT's health. He's going to make a move, based off of what other needs this baseball club has, right? So that's sort of where I stand on it. I mean, obviously, he's on the phone all the time. There's been a lot of other names linked to the Philadelphia Phillies. Luis Roberts, one of them. Tommy Pham's one of them. And obviously, there's other names out there that have been linked to the Phillies. So I don't think that's the position per se that he's looking at. Not saying that poll question says that, but I don't think he makes like a panic move because JT's missing for a month. Now if you want to talk to me about Harper goes down with him, okay, then you can start talking to me about panic move. But right now, I think he's going to make a move because he's going to make a move anyway, right? And he's making a move for September, October, etc., not because of JT being out. So I disagree with the poll. Family out there, what do you say? And boys, what do you guys say? Hold on, Luke.
I got you. My fault. I'm going to disagree with the poll, too. I'm with you 100%. I kind of think JT, while he's not the best player, right, on the team, definitely not. No one's going to make that argument. I kind of think of him as the glue guy on the team, right? His role is so crucial and so important. I'll kind of compare him slightly to like a Draymond Green on those Warriors teams. While he wasn't the best player on that team, they were significantly worse when he wasn't there, when he was suspended or whatever the heck was going on. So while I don't think they need to make a bold move, I think they need to make a move that doesn't necessarily cover this up with a Band-Aid, but it stops the bleeding a little bit. Because obviously, as you said, catchers don't grow on trees, but God forbid something happens to Stubbs or whatever's going on. I don't want to think about that, right? And I'm watching the finals right now. I'll make a little bit of an analogy, like when Porzingis goes down in this series, right? And they come on and they bring in Xavier Tillman, right, in this game. he's playing great defense and he's hitting threes and whatever he's doing. He's giving them that, and that's a guy that they acquired and they traded for, and they might not have said, hey, this guy's going to play big-time minutes for us in the NBA Finals, but they did it in case something went down. Now we're in this position right now. Obviously, we don't want to be in that position, but I think they're going to make a move, even if it's not for the catcher position. Maybe it's something like everyone's talking about in the outfield, not an all-star level move, but somebody who's there to say, all right, I don't want to turn to Whit Merrifield like I have all season long. Let's turn to somebody else, someone I trust. And they also got to believe in their player development, which they've done a tremendous job of the last few years. So I believe in that too, and guys that they might bring up. So I'm going to disagree with the poll for pretty much the same reasons.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. If there was the best player on their team and, it's Bryce Harper, then yeah, you try to maybe make some panic moves to, tread water longer until a guy comes back. But this isn't season ending. It's not ideal. But guess what? You get some of these other guys reps, and if you still find ways to win games, even though they didn't win tonight, but they won last night, and, they're obviously one of the better teams in baseball, I don't know if that move cripples them over a month, right? Now, if you want to talk about JT missing, 3 months, 4 months, all right, Houston, we got a problem. But, him getting that knee right and being down a month, that shouldn't make a guy panic, right? Harper would make you panic. And you've seen it when Harper's gone down. They didn't panic, right? They didn't. It's not his MO. I don't think Dave Dombrowski's out there to make panic moves. Dave Dombrowski's out there to make moves that are going to make his baseball team better, not only for the rest of the season, but come Red October.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with the poll. And the main point I was going to hit is kind of what you were just touching on, Tom, right? My big thing that I've talked about where I've praised Dave Dombrowski all season was that you lose a leader and a guy like a Reese Hoskins. In this offseason, there was no, we have to go out and spend crazy money. We have to fill that spot. They stood pat. They were confident in what they had. And the fact, again, like you talked about, JT only missing about a month. And the timing for it to happen, it's not the worst case scenario because you also are around the corner from Trey coming back in the lineup. He's close. That will pick up some of that offensive slack that you're going to miss. So listen, if we're looking at, a week from now and the pitching staff falls apart because Stubbs isn't doing a good job calling games, then I might have to think about just dabbling into seeing what's out there. I don't expect that. I think that's an extreme scenario. I really don't see that happening here. So no, I don't think they need to go out and make any kind of a crazy move or a panic move. I think it's just kind of it's what it's been all year. Trey goes down, business as usual. Guys miss games, guys miss a start, business as usual. I think that's how that's the way to stay the course right now with this team. That's been Dave Dombrowski's MO, and I don't suspect that that's going to change. Is JT a big miss? Yeah, he is. I mean, he's had a really good offensive year, and again, the thing with him, it's always the situational hitting that I talked about the last couple of years. He's been really good with that this year. He's shown his leadership, not just behind the plate, but with the bat. So I think you'll miss that a little bit. But when you have other guys that have been stepping up and hitting the baseball and driving runs in and they're doing the right things, you can go 30 days without having that in the lineup. And again, huge factor is Trey Turner is returning to this lineup sooner than later, much sooner than later. So I would suspect that offensive miss won't be as devastating. And again, when you have guys you didn't expect, like an Edmundo Sosa and some of these other guys who had really good years, you don't need to make panic moves. It's when the only guys that are hitting are the guys that are the big money guys and your role players aren't participating. This team has had participation up and down the lineup, in and out of the starting rotation and the bullpen all the way around. So no, absolutely don't make a panic move. And I just got to get this out. They should go out and make a move to upgrade the lineup, like you said, with an outfielder maybe at some point. Tommy Pham is not a guy you want to see in this city. I hate just hearing that name.
Yeah, I like hearing the name or not. That's a name that is obviously.
Oh, I'm aware. I think that's
I'm not a Tommy Pham guy either, so you don't got.
No, I don't think there's a reason he's been on 20 different teams, and everywhere he goes, he gets into altercations, whether it's on the field or disagreements with front office. I don't think that's and that's a
Tommy
conversation for another
Pham.
time. Not a
Tommy
not
Phan's something special. Yeah, he's something special. For sure. You're right. And just to
not
let
to
you
get
know,
off course, but you just threw it out there and it triggered me right away.
yeah, well, he'll try to beat you up in the parking lot too. So he'll let it be known how much of a tough guy he is. So I'm glad he spends all that time working. But there has been names linked, and I think the great point you made, Chrome, just to double down on it is like I don't like Trey Turner coming back obviously makes up for a lot of the offensive side of things, but that's settled. You're not going to go looking for bats to make up for JT. You have that, and a guy like Turner coming back. But the big thing is the pitching staff. And that's why you're not going to go out and make a move for a catcher to come in mid-season, per se, and be able to handle your pitchers. You got to go to work with Garrett Stubbs and hope he's good enough calling a game because you don't have any other choices. That's what happens when it comes to the catcher spot. So the biggest impact you're going to miss JT on is just calling a game. And I'm not saying that to say that's not important. That's big time important. But that's the loss. The loss of JT Realmuto for a month. Let's see what these pitching numbers look like at the end of this month. Let's see if guys aren't run averages sky high. Tonight, 8 runs, not a good look, right? But you're also throwing essentially your 5th starter or your 4th starter in tonight's baseball game. So they definitely can tread water and be okay without JT. It just comes down, is this pitching staff, is Garrett Stubbs good enough? He doesn't need to be good enough offensively. He needs to be able to call great games. And if he can do that, they're going to be fine for this period of time. Absolutely fine. I don't think there's any issues there.
Yeah, and adding to that too, I think at this point in the season, when your pitching staff has pitched so well consistently, basically from jump, the best thing that they could have is a familiarity. And Garrett Stubbs is a guy that the pitching staff is familiar with. To try to integrate, and it's not that it's impossible. When you're integrating a catcher with a pitching staff that has no familiarity with the pitchers, that's a roll of the dice. And particularly if you're trying to fill the void that a JT Realmuto at the level that he calls games at, you're going to have to give up assets to do it. And it's not in the Phillies' best interest to start giving up an asset to roll the dice to hope a guy can get familiar enough to pick up the status quo. I think Stubbs is going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about it.
No, listen, dude, backup catchers, you always say, like, backup catchers aren't on teams because they rake. Backup catchers make big league clubs because they're great at handling pitching staffs, right? I mean, the unicorn catchers are the ones that are what I call two-way, right? Not only do they call a great game, but they flat out mash. JT, Will Smith, a guy like Yachty through his career, Pudge Rodriguez. The list goes on guys that were, in my opinion, dual threats behind the plate. I mean, I talk to my younger catchers right now. If you swing it and you call a good game, people are going to be knocking down your door to play college baseball. Absolutely. So if you can be a two-way catcher and not the old school catcher that, hey, I call a great game, but my stick isn't there. I flat out hose guys. I'm great defensively. That's usually through the course of years of baseball that we've watched is usually how catchers are. Hey, they're great defensively. They'll hose you out. Sticks a little off, right? Sticks a little off, but they call a great game. And they're guys you can live with. Like, I can absolutely live with Garrett Stubbs losing 2 or 3 baseballs in a month, calling a great game, being really good defensively. And if he can do that, then we're okay. It's just how long does this JT situation go? And really the poll should be, how concerned are you that your 33-year-old catcher is having meniscus issues when he's a 33-year-old catcher? Do we think that's just going to get better? Are we comfortable with that? Because I'm telling you, Houston, that ain't good. This is a big problem. This is a big problem. And it's something to absolutely be concerned about moving forward when it comes to JT Realmuto and his future and his ability to be as elite as he's been behind the plate.
And you're also talking about it. Yeah, you're also talking about a team, which is why we talked about earlier, beating the teams that they should have beaten in that first portion of the season. You're up 10 games. That's why you give yourself that breathing room, which kind of makes me feel a little bit more confident. I'm with you. But at the end of the day, the more we talk this through, the more reasons it definitely gives me to be concerned.
What about you, Crum? You concerned about the 33-year-old catcher with a bad meniscus?
Luke?
No, Luke said he was concerned. Are you
Oh,
concerned?
you were asking. I thought you were asking him to elaborate. Not at this particular point. I mean, maybe in a long term, but I listen. If I'm the Phillies right now, your window is right now, and that's where I'm zeroed in on. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you look at when 2 years from now, could that be something that really creeps up and it comes at night? Sure. But at this point, we're looking at a 30-day problem ish. And that's where I would be focused when I'm the Phillies, because I just don't see their window being any better than it is this year with the way this team is playing.
Oh, man, it's win now, Cromer. Right? I mean, when I say with JT, not only am I concerned about the future of a 33-year-old catcher, I'm concerned about it right now. Like, he's missing a month of baseball. So, that's concerning, period. Like, meniscus, they just get better. They just don't get better without surgery at some point. Like, I don't know. I'll say knee issues in this city are fun. But, like, if he played any other position, I would be like, oh, okay. Like, that's not a big deal. Like, he'll be all right. But now you got to get down on that knee again and again and again and again. And that's where I think if I'm the Philadelphia Phillies here, Johan Rojas, when JT Realmuto comes back, is out of this lineup. And I move Brandon Marsh to center field, and I start putting Kyle Schwarber in left field, and I DH JT Realmuto a minimum of 2 or 3 times a week. You got to get him off of it. And the fact at 33 years old that you don't get him off of it ever is a joke when you have a DH spot. It's a joke. I know he's tough as nails. I know he wants to catch every game. I fucking get it, okay? But at the end of the day, you got to be smart with aging catchers, especially if there's been some knee issues and rumblings, right? Like, let him DH for a game. Get him off his legs. Like, goodness gracious. You have a DH spot for a reason. Use it. That's my rant.
I mean, you're not wrong on that, but I can think of 5 other reasons why Johan Rojas should be out of the lineup too. There's a lot of guys I'd rather get in the lineup than him.
A lot. Me and you. I mean, I feel like I give you 220.
Uh-huh.
I'm not telling you I'm tracking balls like that, or I got the closing speed of him, but I can definitely give you 220.
I think Luke could step in there and get you a good 212 spot.
I don't know about all that.
He might be able to track a couple balls out there too.
That I might be able to do. But here's a question. We kind of talked about this last week a little bit. Greg brought it up, and now I'm kind of been thinking about it this week.
That's never good.
When Greg's got you thinking for an entire week,
he does.
He's in your head. He's living rent free right now.
This is marinated all week.
Look at Greg going head to toe with Luke all week long.
Rent free. This is like Greg's going to savor it. He's going to salivate on this moment.
All right, well, I hope he does. Like, this is kind of the definition of the bold move, right? So he brought up the name Kyle Tucker. So is that a move where you put him out and left with Marsh in center field, and then Rojas never really has to play really ever? Is that a bold move? Is that seen to you as a bold move?
Well, that's absolutely a bold move. But the problem is, in Rob Thompson's lineups, now you're adding another lefty in there.
Right. That's
who's really good. Yeah. Who's really good. But now you're putting another one in there. That becomes the only reason. But that's a bold move. I mean, Kyle Tucker's legit. So there ain't no question about that. Luis Robert, to me, is a little bit of a bold move. Like, do you get him out of Chicago?
Well, I think that's a huge bold move. I think that's the boldest move they can make.
Yeah,
I know he's having a bad year this year, but he's playing on the worst team in
baseball.
I
feel like losing rubs off on guys, though.
Yeah.
My concern with him, it's not would he come here and produce, because I do think it takes a lot of pressure off him as well. It's the injury history. He's a young guy, and he's already missed a lot of baseball in his career.
He absolutely has. He's only played in 14 games this year as well. But, I mean, that year in 2023, he put up some big numbers, but they're valid concerns. Kyle Tucker does not have that injury history, but you're just coming off with another left-handed bat in your lineup.
And they're one of the most left-handed lineups in baseball on a daily basis, so to speak.
But I would need to know Kyle Tucker's numbers off of lefties. I mean, the dude's having a monster year already, right? I mean, the dude's got 19 home runs already. I mean, Kyle Tucker is absolutely mashing the baseball and seems to get better every year. I mean, you can pencil in on a yearly basis 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. So,
and you're also talking about a team that they're not out of the playoff picture, especially this soon into the year, but they might have to start looking at some long-term moves because their payroll's real high and all those guys are getting up in age. You might have to get off of a guy like that. That's been on your team for a minute, but again,
I don't know how old he is. How old is he?
26, I believe I saw. Yeah, I'm trying to look up that.
He came up better. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, he came up early then.
Yeah, he's been around for a hot minute. He
came up listen,
2018, he was 21.
A 27-year-old puts you in the conversation of giving up guys like Aiden Miller. Just throwing that name out there. I'm not saying that, so I'm giving up. But like for young guys coming into their prime, who you want? Right? Like I'll give you two of my top 10 prospects. Like I don't give a shit. I don't care about the prospects for a 27-year-old. I've been beating that drum for years. You know what I mean? For years. If you give me a guy in his prime or coming into his prime, screw the prospect. What am I worried about 10 years from now? Right? Like hypothetically. Or what am I worried about 5 years from now? Right? Like I'm not worried about Aiden Miller. Aiden Miller's a pimp. But at the end of the day, I got another draft pick this year. And like, if you do great at developing talent in your farm system, you shouldn't be worried about giving it away for guys in their prime. Not saying the Phillies are worried about giving it away at all. Dave Dombrowski has that track record of not giving a shit. But I also think he's not just looking at it right now. He's also looking at it, over the next couple of years too.
Right. You also have to think about his ability to not only develop talent, but find talent, right? This guy Dahl coming in here, giving you great things, at least way more than I expected, I'll admit. And while Merrifield might have been a bust in terms of what we expected out of him, Clemens has been great. So, like, yes, these guys are going down. And as the season goes on, there's probably, hate to say it, there's probably going to be more injuries that go on too. But at the same time, like, these guys, Dombrowski, Brian Cashman, they don't sleep in June because they deal with so many injuries and things like that. They're finding guys all day long. And you're talking about a guy who's been doing that at a high level for ever since really he's been here. It feels like he's been finding guys like that.
Yeah, and not even here. I mean, like everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's been his thing. SJM says, my question to you fellas is Dombrowski calling around for a catcher right now? Who would he be looking at? And we sort of answered it earlier. I highly doubt he's on the phone for a catcher. I just don't. Yeah.
I do have
who? Like who?
I do have Tucker splits, by the way.
What's against
Righty and
lefties?
lefty.
Yeah.
So this year so far against righties, he's much better. 294, 14 homers, 27 RBIs, 31 walks, on base percentage of 425, slugging 647, OPS 1072.
So only 5 homers versus lefties?
Lefties, 5 homers, 13 ribbies, 15 walks.
How many ABs?
78 to 136. His strikeouts aren't like astronomical.
Wait,
he's 218 with a 340 on base, 474 slugging.
78 at bats or 76 at bats? What'd you say?
78 at bats to 136 against lefties or righties. I'm sorry.
That's not that many at bats. Okay.
So he's got 136 against lefties, 78 against righties. Or Jesus Christ, I can't talk. 136 against righties, 78 against lefties. So there is definitely some splits. Strikeouts, 26 against righties, 15 against lefties. His strikeout numbers actually aren't as bad as I would have thought they were with what his batting average. So he still makes contact against lefties.
Julian says, I mean, that's interesting, right? That doesn't like sell me off of Kyle Tucker by any stretch either. Julian says Orioles series will be the first big road series of the year against a top team. Yeah, for sure. And I'm actually going to be in Baltimore this weekend because we play down at John Hopkins, and I was hoping to go to one of the games, but they play at 4:00 on Saturday and we play at 3. So I will not be going to Camden Yards, sadly. I could have went down for the Friday night game, but I don't really feel like going down there a night early when I don't have to. So I'm just going to drive down Saturday. But we were planning on trying to go to a game, but it's not gonna work out. But
one of the best stadiums too, Camden Yards.
Yeah, it should be a great series too, for sure. Greg says Tucker, Lou Bob, top 2 options for me. No Dirty Randy. Who's Dirty Randy? Or Randy Ozarena?
Rosarena.
You're an idiot then, Greg. Out of all the names you just named, I'd rather have him over Tucker because he's a righty. Now I'd rather have Tucker, but I like Randy Ozarena. How do you not like Randy? You say weird things sometimes. I love you to death, but you'll be out on like the weirdest name. Like, why would you be out on him? I need an explanation. Like, I'm not crowning Randy Ozarena, but why would you be out on him? You give up less to get him too.
It's because this year he's not having a good. I mean, he's only hitting 175. Not a great year, but
no, not a
he's
great
another
year
guy. Kind of think you get him out of there, you put him in a lineup like the Philadelphia Phillies. It alleviates a lot of pressure. He's going to see a lot of pitches because of the guys that are going to be around him. You know, it's going to be a lot of opportunities where he can kind of snap out of it and put together a really good second half of the year. Like, you can't compare, you know, being the guy in a for once mediocre Tampa Bay lineup as opposed to coming here and just kind of being a contributor on a bigger scale. Because who do you pitch to then? Who do you pitch around him to get to?
That is the question. Greg said he's having a really rough year. Yep. Agreed on that. Doesn't mean I'm not in on him or I don't throw that fly around because I got to give up. I give up less to get him than I do to get a Kyle Tucker. I mean, Kyle Tucker, I got to be talking about Aiden Miller. I got to be talking about Andrew Painter. You know, I'm talking about some big names, which I'm not against. But if you look at it that way, a Rosarena, you don't got to give up much. Greg said, would you keep Crawford? Would like to keep Crawford, but if we're trading for an outfielder, where's he going to play? No, I mean, that's absolutely true.
Here come the Mavs. Don't look now.
Yeah, they're coming. The NBA won't let that happen. They won't let that happen. Julian says, I want any way at this point to get Rojas off the team. I had this fear Thompson will play Rojas in the playoffs, like against Arizona, and never bench the guy. Seems like Rojas always came up with men on base in the NLCS. He absolutely did. Absolutely did. And I've always said if he's not playing a Gold Glove center field, he doesn't belong on the field. Doesn't belong on the field. We agree or disagree with that one?
No foul.
Yeah, that's nothing. Wow. that's nothing. Okay. That's weird. What up, Greg? He said just got off work. What's up, brother?
What's up, my guy?
And Thomas says Bohm has been brutal this month. Bringing in Robert or Tucker to slide into that 4 spot in this lineup is very much needed right now. Yeah, and that's baseball, man. You know it. You know, guys have rough months. They have great months. I mean, it's the biggest ebb and flow sport around. But I hear you. I'm not saying you're wrong. Julian says, I think Miller's a future third baseman. Well, I don't think you got to think that. Even he is. He says they eventually trade Bohm. Bohm has like 0 power. Now, I disagree with that.
I think
they don't trade Bohm. They move Bohm to first base at some point, and Bryce Harper slots into the DH spot. That's how that works.
Yep. Once Schwarber's deal is up, you don't re-up Schwarber. You move Bryce to DH. You move Bohm over to first base rather from third.
You know, if that's it, again, I don't know if Aiden Miller's ready in 2 years. Like I don't know. I mean, we'll find out. I mean, he's a high school kid, and sometimes it's a little hard for bats to speed up that process. Now, you know, he's flat out swinging it. So And if you watch it swing, I mean, it is nice to watch. It is enjoyable to watch. But they got some pieces down there. Not that we want to do farm system talk. We've done that plenty. P says they'll be fine without JT. They will be. It's just, how long does this linger? That's the question. How concerned are you, not only moving forward this year, but the next year and the year after, right? Like, there's obviously some concerns when a 33-year-old catcher has meniscus injuries or, sprains or whatever the hell it may be. John said, Tom, you're a baseball guy. So is it an outfielder or a stud closer? If the closer, what would it take to get Mason Miller from the A's? I think they got a ton of outfielders. You know what I mean? Listen, I look at what Houston did through their runs, right? And what Houston did through their runs was they were flat out dominant in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. They had unhittable cats coming out of their pen. Right, boys? That's what Houston ran at you. All right? They had really good starters. We know that. But they had electric stuff in 7, 8, and 9. If you want to copycat something, right? So, now, do I love that Miller doesn't throw? He's throwing around 10,000 people. So, do I love that? No. But if you watch his stuff, shit's elite, right? Shit's elite. I don't think I need another outfielder, Johnny. If you put the hypothetical gun to my head, I would lean towards go get me another arm in the back end of this bullpen. Because if you can roll out Hoffman, Alvarado, Miller, I feel it. Who's hitting that shit? I mean, I know Miller got a bomb hit off the other night, but I mean, that's closer life. Like, guys are going to catch up to 100 miles an hour, right? They will. But I mean, I think that if you want to tell me what's a difference maker, I think the Miller move, and the more time's going on here, and the more I think about it, the Miller move, man, I mean, I don't know if another guy brings that kind of value.
So my only, and this is just to play devil's advocate, we've seen it a number of times. You can point to 2 years ago, the team we beat in the NLCS. The San Diego Padres went out and traded for Josh Hader at the deadline. Josh Hader was one of the top closers in the game. Had an ERA of almost 8 after that trade. It happens a lot when you trade for particularly closers, not just bullpen arms, but closers in particular. There are a lot of instances where you can look back, and as soon as that guy changed teams midseason, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's a familiarity with a catcher, whatever it is, there are guys that scuffle after those deals for, at least that. Sometimes they're locked in, like Hader came back and bounced back the next year. But a lot of times these trade deadline moves for closers don't work out as well as you would think they would. So I do like Miller a lot, and I think if you're going to roll the dice, that's the kind of guy you go for. But I proceed with caution when it comes to trading for a closer at the deadline.
But he's not a full-time closer here either. So it's something to maybe like factor in a little bit, right?
Sure.
That'll be matchups. But you're right. You're not wrong about that. I mean, it's always a little bit of a scary situation. But, Julian, I mean, you're talking about Game 6 and Game 7 in the NLCS. I mean, this goddamn lineup has a freaking $1 billion in it. You know what I mean? So let's not act like we need upgrades in this lineup like ASAP. I mean, come on. There's a freaking $1 billion lineup. It's a $1 billion lineup. I mean, what else do you want? I mean, I'll take Kyle Tucker yesterday, of course. But, I mean, if your big dogs don't hit, it don't matter anyway.
Did they call that a defensive foul?
Yep.
Did Jaylen Brown not extend the arm on that?
See, this is what Luka likes to do, though. That he did that call to himself. He barked too much, and he was never getting that call, only because he's been barking all day.
But listen.
I'm with you, though.
I'm a 3-point game. You can't not call offensive fouls because you don't like that a guy hasn't liked your calls all day.
Totally with you.
It's the NBA.
The NBA's got a bunch of egos in the NBA, even the refs.
Oh, for sure. If you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, follow, turn your alerts on. As always, join the damn conversation. Talking Phillies. We're going to give you some live reactions of the end of the Game 3 in the NBA Finals here. Dallas fighting for their lives, trying to make this a 2-1 series.
That was the 6th foul, too.
Was it?
Yeah.
On Luka?
Yeah, they're reviewing it right now.
So I'll say it again. The NBA on what I mean, to me, it appeared to be an offensive foul. Whether you like him or not, you can't foul out one of the best players, one of the faces of your league, because the referees don't like that he hasn't liked their calls.
I also don't know.
Everybody complains about foul calls.
In that spot, having 5 fouls, I don't know. He was trying to draw a charge. I mean, you got to be smarter than that. I don't know why he's
pushed off with his right arm.
I don't even know if he's trying to. It's very close because he is moving.
Yeah, but
he almost is like he almost olayed him. Like he almost gave him the inside. Like
this might be one of those Adam Silver calls down. We can't foul this guy out.
They want this series to extend. This is going to be an offensive foul.
Oof, I don't know. I just don't get trying to take the charge in that spot. You got 5 fouls with 3 some minutes left in the game. You got to stay in the game. I'd rather sacrifice 2 points.
Adam Silver saying, "Get your shit together."
Josh says, "What would you give up a package for Miller?" See, I don't know what that value is.
Closers, you know what I mean? It's tough to gauge a closer because, again, it's such a fine line and a risk with a closer to like give away really big assets in your farm system. I don't know that I would go there. Here we go.
Yup, he's out. I mean, that was a selfish play in my if I saw Maxey or Embiid do that, that's on the player in my opinion. That was selfish on his part.
I don't know if it was selfish.
He was searching for a call defensively. I mean, you also got to know I got 5 fouls. He's been up the ref's ass the whole day.
Well, I mean, listen, you don't got you can't try to take the charge there, right? There's a lot of other words you can use besides selfish.
I think that was pretty selfish defensive play, or at least it's either he was selfish or unaware. One of the two.
Yeah, I'll go more the unaware and just not smart, right?
Yeah, you want to say it's not the smartest play or like you said, not being aware of the situation you're in at the moment in that game. That's different than selfish. Selfish is a very, very different word.
Can Kyrie take this over? Fuck it.
I mean, that's what they've been looking for. That's what they've needed. He just
the Mavs are on a 22-2 run over the last 8 minutes.
That's crazy.
22-2 run. I mean, basketball is amazing. The NBA is amazing. Like a 22-2. Like, how did Boston forget how to play basketball for 8 minutes? It's funny.
All these teams get cute when they get off.
Huge bucket.
It's a game of runs, and that's kind of what's beautiful about it is you could be down.
Oh my god!
Wow,
Martian's right. We need you, Kyrie. Come on, Kyrie. We need you. Fuck Boston.
You know what's messed up is obviously I don't want the Celtics to win another title, but the worst part about if Boston was to win a title is Al Horford. And that's what's going to be the stinger for me.
I'm with you.
Well, 100%. Before I forget, rest in peace to the great Jerry West. I wanted to say that, make that clear. I mean, obviously the logo
still working.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
And looked good and sounded good, right? I mean, listen, the guy lived a great life. He's 86 years old. I mean, if you give me the 86, I'm happy he's a pig and shit. And there's Derek White shoving it up our ass. We're used to that one.
Wow, I think.
Could you imagine a 3-0 series lead? Like, oh God, I can't watch Boston win a championship. Really can't. Really can't.
Our boy Paul George is doing the halftime show today for ESPN.
Is he?
That's our guy. I already bought my jersey on DH Gate.
You're buying jerseys already. So before we wrap up,
a couple NBA legends pass away recently. You look at Bill Walton too. Some pretty big names. Very sad. A couple big losses in the NBA.
Before we move on, how do you think the Phillies do in this series versus the O's? Lose 2 out of 3, win 2 out of 3, sweep, get swept. How are we feeling?
Just trying to look at the pitching matchups real quick. I do think because they're pretty much going to be at the top of their rotation, that helps them.
Yep.
You know, if we were looking at back end of the rotation going into this series, I'd be a little bit more worried.
I say they take 2 out of 3. Phillies take 2 out of 3. Martian says sweep them. I mean, calm down.
I think I'm with Josh. I think they're going to probably drop 2 out of 3. They're due for a series loss probably too.
So we're looking at Ranger versus Bradish on Friday. Saturday's probably an L. Walker versus Grayson Rodriguez. I feel like every Walker starts on an L at this point. Really good matchup on Sunday. Zach Wheeler and Corbin Burns. That's ace versus ace there. I think they split the first 2, and it's a pick 'em. You know, that's a tough matchup. So I think it's a pick 'em.
It's a wheels up. It's a wheels up game.
If I was to go by the pitcher I trust more, I would always pick Zach Wheeler. He's one of the best pitchers in the game, and I know I want to say he's underrated, but he's one of the least talked about top pitchers in the sport that I've seen in a long time. Like a very understated ace.
Jason Tatum takes some shots that you're like, are you stupid, bro? Like you're gonna jack up a 3 up 4 with 1:30 left when you can take it to the bucket whenever you want to. Like, why would you settle for that?
I mean this with no disrespect. I mean this with no disrespect. I don't think there should be a finals MVP at all in the series. Give it to Brad Stevens. I mean, he built a great team. They are the best team in the league. They deserve to win the title. All those things are true. Like 04 Pistons level.
That's their best player.
I agree with you.
I've been on that kick for as long as you've been watching the show, Luke, before you've been a part of his show. I've been on Jaylen Brown's the best player on the Celtics, and they keep telling me it's Tatum. It's not. He's awesome, but he's not the best player on the team. Game over, looks like. Game over. Oh. You calling that? He's calling that? He's out of control. Oh, my God. You can't call that. He's out of control. That's 101.
That is ridiculous.
You just bailed out Al Horford?
Oh, no. They got him.
The other way.
Oh, my God. Let's go. We're back.
Ooh.
I still don't even know what they just said the other way. All right. Need a bucket. Drew's dogging Kyrie right now.
We didn't like him. We
need an earth is flat 3 right here.
Boom.
That's a big 3.
Yikes, dude.
Foul call.
Derek White just does everything. It's ridiculous.
Wow, I can't believe they might sweep them. Wow.
You know who else is going to get a ring? Jaden Springer. Ring him.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve a ring. I can't believe his name even came up now. I did not have that on my bingo card.
What was the foul on that?
I've been staring at him all jittery, happy on the bench for this entire run.
Looks like it's ball game.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tom. I hate saying it because it's Boston, but Jaylen Brown's one of my favorite players to watch play basketball. He's just so good.
He's so good.
Like, he just makes it look effortless.
I mean, he's a perfect modern day player. He plays defense, great driver, respectable from three. I mean, that's pretty much the analytical, typical NBA player for you right there.
He's just like a really good ambassador for the game too. Like, I know they have that big 3 season getting ready to kick off, and even like last year, he participated in like their All-Star game, like to help just grow the game. And you know, I mean, obviously, you know, you take risks by doing that, by stepping out of an NBA game, but you know, he went down there to help grow that league a little bit, help some of the guys who are past their prime that are, you know, trying to showcase themselves, you know, find a little bit of a life after to play a little bit more basketball by, you know, going down there and giving them, you know, to use my wrestling term, you know, kind of give them the rub a little bit.
I think he probably will be, after that fourth quarter, probably will cemented himself as the finals MVP.
Yeah, unless a miracle happens and they get swept 4 games in a row, which I doubt is going to happen. That's the disappointment. Kyrie has not had a good series.
Well, he played well today until his best player didn't want to.
He played better.
He didn't want to stick around. He's not good enough. I mean, I love Kyrie to death. He's one of my favorite players. When I was a kid, he was my favorite player. I love him, but he's not supposed to be your A guy right now in this point of his career.
Boston 3-0 series lead.
Oh.
Yeah, fam. Hit
This
that
point,
like and subscribe.
I'd rather them sweep and close it out so they don't do it on home court at least.
Yeah, I guess if there's like a silver lining. If we're looking for silver linings here, that's what we'll go with. Win in Dallas. It's the only thing that wins in Dallas. Wow. Well, listen, it's good that it's good that the Phillies are playing good ball. You know, I know we're not doing a really long show tonight, but
no, this will be a fun series coming up. If you're a baseball fan, regardless, it's going to be a fun series. You got 2 pretty good matchups, you know, and obviously, you know, you have your Walker matchup in there. But, you know, I love watching really good pitching matchups, and Sunday with Wheeler and Burns, that's going to be a really good game to watch.
absolutely will.
Another one for you, Luke. I always try to point out the really good pitching matchups for you, buddy. If you watch one this weekend, it's the Sunday game.
I was about to shout out the I know I'm alone on this one. I was watching earlier tonight before the finals game started. Shout out USA Soccer. Big time result today. Tied a very good opponent, Brazil. We're becoming a soccer country. Don't worry about it. Slowly but surely.
Not a soccer company.
That is true.
Random question, since we have a couple minutes here. It's been a hotly debated topic. What are your guys' thoughts on this whole Caitlin Clark being left off USA women's basketball?
Fucking joke.
Such a joke.
It's such a joke. You're going to literally waste, you know, the face of your game now. The reason your sport is getting the viewership that it's never seen before, and you're going to leave that off your USA team, you're wasting an opportunity. The WNBA is wasting an opportunity to market arguably the face of their league. So I'm not gonna say arguably the face of their league.
No, I was gonna say
so
there's no argument.
I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on here. I don't understand why. One, I don't understand why these players treat her like that to begin with. Why there's this jealousy. I guess that's women for you. But I think everything that's happened has been a flat out disgrace. I think the lack of feel from some other WNBA players and their comments, like people are watching the fucking game for you. Are you out of your mind? Like the numbers are telling you. Why even say that? Like I don't know. The whole thing's flawed. and her not being on that roster is just a disgrace.
The biggest joke of it all is that they did that, didn't, for whatever reason, did not expect backlash, which is insane in its own right. Got the backlash, and the first thing that they do is they come out and say, well, she's the first alternate, thinking that would cover up for all the crap that they did and the BS decision they made in the first place, to come out and say, try to cover it up by calling her an alternate on the team. Like, one, that even matters, and two, that people would, not continue to be like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah, no, and I know we're gonna get to Brian. Thanks for the super chat, brother. We'll get to you in one quick second, just to respond to that. Like, the league has grown exponentially. Like, the growth just in the first half or first third of the season is like 5 or 6 years of growth year over year that they've had to go through in just that. And this is your most marketable player, the face of your league right now. And now you have a chance to globally grow your league. And to not do that, oh my God, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's sometimes you make they make the excuse it's a basketball decision, and we don't want to stun her growth because she's going to be the face of women's USA basketball, in future years, and we don't want to put her up in this tough competition, but like when she's not ready. That's all bullshit. At the end of the day, your league has never been hotter. 4 years from now, you don't know what can happen. Injuries happen. Her flame could die out for one reason or another. You ride that wave right now when you have not seen anything even close to this in the history of your league. And they've been around for like 26, 27 years. I think they started in like 97 or something around there. It's a flat out miss. Absolutely. That Tom, that's my crumb of the week. USA women's basketball.
They haven't even lost a game in Olympic play in like 20 some years. Well, so don't give me the we want the 12 best players. Like, you don't need the 12, like, rank them and then I need the 12 best. Well, you'll be fine. Yeah, I guarantee you'll be fine.
You can go win with all college girls. I mean, are they okay? Like, are we all right?
The excuse was like, we want to set the record and beat the men for 8 consecutive gold medals. You're going to do that with your eyes closed. You could do it sending 6 women.
Everybody can
and just let 6 you run.
Everybody shoot left-handed. They still do it.
Exactly. They need the 12 best. They need to rank them the 12 best, then they all got to go.
But Brittany Griner's on the team. That's nothing to see here. I mean, have a fucking feel.
Listen, I like.
I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it, but this is a person that pretty much said F the U.S. until you got locked up over there. All right, so, but that's deserving. Like, we have no feel. That person shouldn't be wearing these colors. That person didn't even want to be here anymore. I'm not getting political. I'm being factual. I don't give a shit what side of the spectrum you're on. But you're going to talk about your country, blah, 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 and then you get locked up. Now you need your country. And then you're playing for Team USA over the face of your game right now. Have a fucking feel. That's all.
Well, I would even go even outside of her, and everything you said is 100% fact. But, like, listen, I appreciate Diana Taurasi for the legend that she is in the game.
For sure.
But she's like in her 40s at this point. She is not the same person. Then, the leadership, bullshit. There's plenty of leadership. There is plenty of high quality women on that team.
Check the language for Brittany. We don't want to get locked up. Before we get out of here, let's talk about Brian's super chat. And Brian, we really appreciate you, brother. He says Joel Embiid will never beat a Boston Celtics team. The guy submits to Tatum every time. We need a real junkyard dog that has real heart to beat Boston. Okay, so we gotta tank and start over. That junkyard dog ain't just gonna grow on a tree. 2, I don't know if he submits to Tatum. The guy fought lions. I don't know if he's out here submitting anybody. All right. I mean, can he not stay healthy? Yes, absolutely. Right. But I wouldn't go saying the guy's like submitting to Tatum. Tatum ain't even the best player on that team. So you want to say he submits to Horford or whatever the case may be, I'm good with it. But we do need junkyard dogs, and hopefully this lights a little fire under their ass.
I mean, I have the strongest opinion about this subject. I mean, the NBA is full of divas, and if anyone is screwed up in professional sports as an organization, it's been the Sixers more than anyone in all of sports in terms of having opportunities and draft picks and money, whatever you want to call it, and just organizational failures with like burner accounts and coaches and a ton of crap. 99.99999% of superstars would have been out 5 years ago. And for some reason, he's never said a word. He's never batted an eye, and he's still here. So clearly it shows some kind of dedication to wanting to be here, really wanting to win here. That's how I feel about it. Now, whether the organization should want to trade him, that's a whole other discussion that could definitely be debated. But there's no reason to debate it because they've publicly said there's no shot of them ever doing it.
Nothing else to contribute. I agree.
I mean, people make him come out to look like such a diva and like he doesn't want to win and he's a loser. I mean, come on. We dealt with Ben Simmons and James Harden and Colangelo and failed draft picks and a bunch of crap. And he's still here.
Well, listen, I mean, I know Kyrie has a ring, but, we've heard the conversation. Stephen A. said it a whole bunch of times. And it's one of the things I really agree with him on. People could talk about guys like Kyrie. And is that a guy you want to have on your team right now? Like the one thing Joel Embiid proved this year, and we've been asking for him, is to get on the court when he is hurt. Because a lot of times we said, could he have played in this? You can't say the dude didn't get out and make an effort this year, and he did affect the game. Maybe not at the level that 100% Embiid would have, but that team had a shot to win that series, and they did not lose the series because of Joel Embiid or a lack of effort or his production. He was still putting 30 and 10 up. It's the fact that they weren't deep enough to be able to overcome a less than 100% Embiid. And to me, that's not on him. I mean, that's not on him. If he didn't show up and didn't play, that's a different thing. But I watched the guy go out there with, a not 100% knee, with, Bell's palsy, and they still had a shot. They were in every game. It was
He had the Bell's palsy in one leg, and he's still at a plus 30 some plus minus. They were 30 points better when he was on the court in the playoffs.
You can make a very strong argument, and part of it is because the Sixers probably weren't a true number 7 seed, that top to bottom, game for game, that Knicks-Sixers series was the most entertaining series of the entire playoffs. I don't even think there's an argument, but when you look at every game down the stretch, the point differential, I think, was 1, if I'm correct, right? Or 2 in favor of the Knicks.
Yeah.
That was hands down. You had big shots. You had everything in that. That was arguably the best series in the playoffs.
All you need to know
because of Embiid.
Exactly, especially because when he was off the court and when his backup was on the court and Paul Reed, minus 47 in 46 minutes.
Right.
And you talked about the plus minus right then and there.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. So for all you people saying he doesn't impact winning, I don't even know what to say to that, because they were significantly the better team when he was on the court, and they were literally historically bad. Historically bad. One of the worst teams in the history of the NBA, not even in the playoffs, in the entire existence of the NBA when he was off the court. And that's why they lost.
This is like the last reply when I know we're getting ready to get off. Brian followed up and said Embiid is never there in the clutch. In the NBA, generally your big man should not be the guy that you're going to at the end. They are going to close in on the big man. So if anything, if you want to be upset about that situation, then that's where you look at the front office and say, why has there not been a closer since Jimmy Butler was here the first time for this team? And that's what they have a chance to rectify this offseason. Because Maxey, he might be getting there. He obviously had a huge game in the playoffs this year. and he's had moments this season, but he's not at like 100%. Like I'm 100% confident putting the ball in his hands. But this is their opportunity. They have the money to go out and get a guy who could help to be one of those closers and take some of those opportunities for Maxey and Embiid. But I can never accept that argument that he's not clutch.
Jokic won a championship as the best player on his team, but not the closer. Jamal Murray closed every
He never
single
is the
game.
closer. There's
Exactly.
a reason he has a ton of assists and rebounds, because at the end of the game, when guys miss shots, he's grabbing the boards and finding the open guy to hit the big
100%.
shot to win the games. So this whole Joel Embiid's not clutch it's bullshit.
He shouldn't have to be clutch.
No, nobody in the NBA, your big man is not your closer.
And guess what? And that's partly the organization's fault, because he's had to been the guy, because he's been turning the guys like all these other idiots that he's been playing with his whole career. When I look at Boston right now, they have 5 guys on the court at all times who can eventually at some point be a closer. And Dallas has 2 closers on their team. Embiid's not a closer. Who the hell's saying that? No one's saying that. Is anyone coming out here saying Jokic is some closer? No one's saying that either.
No.
Fun week, boys.
Definitely not. Yeah, my crumb of the week. I don't even feel like talking about it. But this is a great show. HUD Wednesday nights, only on HUD Radio. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, follow, and join our conversations. Turn your alerts on and stay with us. We appreciate all the comments, questions, opinions. You know the deal. We appreciate you. For Heel Chrome, that's Luke Brown. I'm Tom Arnone. We thank you all for listening. We'll see you next Wednesday night. And that's it. Great stuff, boys.